SveNFL.
What is up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Skip me, Sarah.
Two Americans living in Sweden talking about omelets.
Let's go. Why are we talking about omelets?
No,
Did you have an omelet for breakfast?
No, you know what we should talk about, though? If there's any food we would talk about, it would be barbecue, because this episode is brought to you by Brisket and Friends, the best barbecue in Stockholm. Go to Brisket and Friends. With 3 locations, you can enjoy great barbecue.
Yeah, and when you get there, don't forget to ask for the SveNFL special.
Yeah, as for the SveNFL special.
Just so that you can experience that weird look on their face. And they go, huh? Because that's how we're going to get it. That's how I am convinced that that's how we're going to get the sponsorship. Yeah. Having
like
people go in.
Reaching people.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Football's back. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I woke up at 2:30 and didn't go back to sleep.
Right.
I was like, football's on. It was like... Reach over, you got the glass of water on the nightstand. Football's on.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yep. I lumbered into the living room, which reminds me that those of you that are in Europe and are using DAZN, they are really making it hard for an establishment like ourselves that use the same account to watch at the same time. It's just impossible unless you're under the same network. So that we got to figure out. If anybody has a way around that, let us know.
I have a lot of gripes with DAZN. That's one of them. The other one, as we've spoken about privately, is that you can't pause live TV. Like,
that's a problem.
I mean, they literally advertise this as like one of the perks of NFL Plus. You can pause it and go take a piss and you don't miss anything. You know what I mean? And it's like, they won't let you pause live TV. It's like, what the fuck? It's dumb. It's fucking dumb.
And I don't know why I can't think of a good reason why that would be.
They claim that it has something to do with it's like a rights issue, which doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Because you can pause it like once it's like if you watch, like I usually watch Good Morning Football sometimes in the afternoon after it's already aired. And when my workday is over, I'll sit down and watch the first couple of blocks of Good Morning Football. And, as long as it's already aired and it's just up there, you can pause that. You just can't pause anything that's live.
Yeah. We also have to begin by saying that we, as this podcast, as SveNFL, went through what we call the ultimate weekend. I don't know if I want to call it that. We'll come up with something. But your college team won, which happens very
handily.
And my college team won. And
in a very exciting game. That was great. I mean, the Bulldogs, we beat Ball State. That was like, who? Yeah. The fuck is Ball State? You guys...
We beat Texas A&M.
You guys got into a little bit of a fist fight. That was hot. That was a good game.
So there was that, and then our pro teams won on the same day. It's like...
I feel like this may have never happened.
Yeah. We should call it the SveNFL Bukkake.
Yeah.
All of our teams came at the right time.
Just like an absolute truckload cum shot. You know what I mean?
I like that better. We'll call it the ATC.
Yeah.
We experienced an ATC, an absolute truckload cum shot.
Yeah.
And we can go through it now, though. The results from Flip 'em Pick 'em.
Yeah. Okay. So I can let you know. Just it started out bad for me. It was looking. It was not looking good. I did terrible in the early window. But then it sort of evened out for me in the late window and obviously Sunday night and Monday Night Football. But you took week 1 9-7.
Oh, okay.
9-7. Yeah.
All right.
But in the early window, I think I only got one game right.
Damn.
I got absolutely
Yeah,
boat
you
raced
got all of the
in the
upsets,
early window.
man. I'm looking at it now. Damn. Yeah, man. Should we start going through it? You want to start us off, man, with the Thursday night game?
Let's do it. How about these fucking Lions walking into Arrowhead Stadium, week 1, game 1, Chiefs raising their Super Bowl banner for all the world to see, but Dan Campbell and his army of kneecap hunters snatch the dub late in the fourth quarter and say, it ain't just hype. We here to play, son. Oh my God. They beat them 21-20. I mean, I guess you have to start by saying no Travis Kelce, obviously, due to a hyperextended knee injury. No Chris
they
Jones.
said it a million times during the game.
no Chris Jones.
Through the contract dispute, which is stupid.
Who awkwardly was just sitting in the stands watching
Looking
the game.
like Tom Brady.
I was like, Mahomes, you have to say Mahomes definitely played his ass off. Doing as much as he could possibly do, going 21 for 39, 226 yards, 2 touchdown passes. He led the team in rushing yards, which tells you there was definitely a problem there. The interception he threw was not even close to his fault. Kadarius Toney probably had the worst night of
not just an interception, a pick 6.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it went right through his hands like it was a buttered turkey. And Lions DB Brian Branch took it all the way to the house for his first ever NFL pick 6 in his first ever NFL game.
Wow.
Rookie out of Alabama, which is not entirely his fault. Because it turns out he is also turns out to be my man from Fayetteville, Georgia. Let's go.
Oh my God.
How about
that? For those of you listening, I don't have the soundboard today. We're recording from home and the soundboard's in the studio. But just so you know, that would have been at least one.
Which is a shame because we're just getting started, baby. There some Bulldogs showed out this week. Bulldogs showed out this week.
But what'd you feel after this game, man?
I feel like take all of that. Everyone's like, oh, if Kelce played, the Chiefs would have won. If Chris Jones played, the Chiefs would have won. If they hadn't have dropped all those passes, Chiefs would have won. But they didn't.
If was the 5th, we'd all be drunk.
Exactly. And if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah.
So, honestly, from the Lions' perspective, you kind of have to. This is a legitimate win. Goff was very steady. 22 for 35, 253 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a monster, as expected. This guy had a beautiful touchdown catch on a 14-play, 91-yard drive that included a fake punt that they converted for a first down from behind their own 20-yard line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some stones.
Or fear.
True. But I also think, we may be kind of, I think we're both of the same opinion that we're a little on the fence regarding, like, is Dan Campbell a good coach or not? And that's one of those things where you take your chances. You know what I mean? If you convert that 4th down, you look like a genius. Right. If you don't, everyone's like, okay, what is this guy going to get fired before the end of the season? You know what I mean? Yeah. But he did it. And then obviously the pick 6 right after halftime certainly helped them out. And then David Montgomery, who, had a fairly quiet game until the end. I mean, he scores the game-winning touchdown on a beautiful run where it was just like, I'm taking this thing up the gut and I'm going to fucking run everybody over who's in my way.
Yeah.
and they take the lead. Um,
So wait, their
you
first
know,
round pick didn't do much. The running
he
back they picked in the first round.
he didn't. I mean, he okay. So
I'm just talking shit.
he didn't. He certainly didn't do as much as I thought he would,
Right.
but he did show. I think you saw a lot of team. This the theme of week one is that you know ever since they took away that fourth preseason game, um, week one feels like the final preseason game. Where you got a lot of
Yeah,
teams
we'll
that
talk
just
more about that. Yeah,
don't
hell
look
yeah.
ready, or they haven't. The starters are literally playing for the first time in week one. Um, but I saw some things from him where you can tell what they want to do with him for the rest of the season, and I think he's going to be. I think everything's going to be fine with that kid. I think
Oh,
he's going to
nice. Good.
Jameer Gibbs. I think is going to be he's going to be a problem.
I think
Um,
both teams are gonna be all right. You know what I mean? I think everybody can stay in the middle instead
hmm,
of going too nuts for the Detroit or going oh shit panic button for the Chiefs. It's like
right.
game one. Let's keep it moving.
Exactly. But the part of this game that I think gets slept on a little bit is the fact that the Falcons won this game because their defense stepped the fuck up, which is not something you
The
can normally
Falcons.
say. I meant to say the Lions. Uh,
Damn.
the Lions defense played great. They did not get
Right.
any sacks, but there wasn't a single Kansas City rusher that got over 45 yards. They held the Chiefs to under 4 yards per carry. Hutchinson was living in the backfield, forcing Mahomes to make difficult decisions.
Yeah.
And in this, and
Hutchinson
in
was he stood out the most for me, man. I
absolutely, and in
said
the
he
second
has
half,
arrived. Yeah.
they held Mahomes to only 12 targets to wide receivers for a total of 12 yards.
Wow.
The Chiefs were 0-7 on third downs in the second half. Um, it was a great performance. And some people, obviously, after the game, claimed that the right tackle for the Chiefs was basically cheating all night long,
Yes,
lined
he
up like
was.
lined up like a wide receiver.
Yeah, he was lined up more
uh,
than a yard off the line of scrimmage. He's supposed to have his. I learned that. I didn't know that his is it helmet to the hips or something like that
yeah,
or
yeah.
something. It was something like that. He was like a yard behind that just because, and Hutchinson was still beating him.
Hmm.
But yeah, they finally got him on a hold. Like he was holding too. They finally got him later in the game. But it was like, man, how much of an advantage does this guy get?
Yeah, it was one of those things where you had to realize that it's also week one for the referees.
Yeah.
This crew, I don't remember who it was. It's not Jerome Boger. For everyone who remembers my rant from last year, he has retired,
Oh,
so
good.
we no longer have to be on Jerome Boger watch. But I don't know who this crew was, but they had a rough night. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But the team that should have won. And congrats to the Lions, but I'm not that scared for the Chiefs.
I'm not worried either. I picked the Chiefs to win this game. I was wrong.
Yeah,
So you won this one. Um,
nice.
in the next game, you picked the Falcons to beat the Panthers. And how about them Falcons taking it
Yeah, man.
24-10? I mean, okay, we'll start with the positive first.
Okay.
Um, because I want to talk about this first touchdown of the 2023 season for the Falcons and my man, rookie Bijan Robinson, his first touchdown, putting the dude on
Ooh.
skates,
Yeah.
and then just
Yeah.
blasting his way through two guys who were trying to tackle him. I
He's
mean,
got a pop to his run. I really like him.
he's got a pop, he's got a cut,
Yeah.
he's got all the tools that you could possibly want. Um, I, it,
But
hmm?
that entire backfield, like Algier, is nothing to shake a stick at either, man.
I did not know how. Nobody really knew how the Falcons were planning on using these two weapons going into the season. I think everybody assumed they were just going to lean on Bijan and Algier would be a bit of an afterthought, and that did not turn out to be the case in this game. Algier had a
Mm-mm.
monster game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie; it took a little too long for the Falcons to make me feel like we had this one in the bag.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. They came to
PTSD,
fight. They came to play, man.
They did. The PTSD levels were running high. As
Yo,
it looked like.
full
Mm,
disclosure. We at my home, we
mm,
were sitting here watching, and it turns out everybody who was watching also listens to SveNFL,
mm.
and they were all waiting for a next gen stat to come up so we could take a picture of it and send it to you. No matter what part of the game, we were gonna take a picture and send you the next gen stat saying that y'all were gonna win, just to mess with you, and we are gonna all send it to you at the same time,
That's
so you get like
hilarious.
4 next gen stats. But it never came up, man.
Thank God. It came up in one of the other games later. I think
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
in
we
this.
saw that.
I think it came up in the Saints game or something. And
Yeah.
Isak and I both started laughing. I was like, please don't cut to the Falcons game right now. I don't even want to know.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that was great.
but thanks in large part, honestly, to Jesse Bates the third. This man played his ass off.
Yeah.
Um, he
Same
had a hell of
mistake.
a game.
Somebody, I forget who it was commentating your game, but they had a good point, man. That mistakes are going to happen, but repeat mistakes is what you don't want, and that's what happened with the throwing the same type of pass, the same type of stare down, and
Mm,
it gets the route jumped twice. So hopefully he can have some film time and learn from it.
absolutely. Because he definitely made the mistake of throwing 2 interceptions to Jesse Bates the third.
Hmm.
And then Jesse Bates also forced a fumble late. That was recovered by my man, former Bulldog Lorenzo Carter, which was nice. Um, Interestingly enough, I think it's funny because I feel like the Panthers lost this game because they leaned too much on Bryce Young, the rookie QB, um, who, despite hanging in there, kind of looks like he's not ready to come out of the oven yet. And then the Falcons coincidentally won this in part because Arthur Smith decided to play around his quarterback,
Mm,
who, despite the victory, it's
yeah.
just kind of. He only attempted 18 passes in the game. He's 15 for 18, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, um, not a single target to Drake London. Which
No,
did
I
you
think it
see?
was knocked away, right? Wasn't it deflected or something?
No, according to the stat sheet, he
No
didn't have a
targets at
single.
all.
He had
I
zero
thought I saw
targets.
it. Maybe there was a penalty or something.
And they asked Arthur Smith about this after the game.
He's got one target. I'm looking here.
Oh, does he? Okay, he has.
Yeah, I remember saying, and when I watched it back.
Oh, maybe they switched it because after the game, directly after the game, he was listed as having zero targets, and a reporter asked him after Arthur Smith after the game because Desmond Ritter threw a pass that got batted and
Yeah,
Ritter
he's got one
caught it.
target here.
So
Yeah.
he got one time. And so someone asked me, "Is like, does it concern you that your quarterback has one more target than your star wide receiver?" And Arthur Smith snapped at this guy and was like, "You know what? We'll leave that for all those idiots who all they care about is fantasy football." He's like, "All we care about is that we got the dub." Next question.
Ooh, let him know, Arthur. All right, what's the next game? Or did you have more to say about this game?
No, I'm just glad we got out of it with a win. This is
Exactly. Sometimes
just
that's what. Sometimes you play to win. Sometimes you
sometimes you
play
get
for
the
a tie.
tie.
And
A lot of football to be
football
played.
left.
Lot of football to be played. Um,
Then we got the Panthers. I mean, not Panthers. I'm sorry, the Texans and the Ravens.
no, actually, next up we have the Bengals and the Browns. Are the next ones on my
Okay.
list.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
The Battle of Ohio. The Browns continued their dominance over the Bengals in the Joe Burrow era. Burrow is 1 for 5 versus the Browns, and this after getting the bag, which we'll talk about in the next episode when we do some news stuff. Might be the worst performance of Joe Burrow's career.
Mm.
The weather was terrible. So there's that. Burrow could not connect with his wide receivers, and Myles Garrett and company were just absolutely terrorizing them all night long. Burrow was 14 for 31 with only 82 yards passing. I
I
mean,
don't even know what to say, man.
Jamar only had 39 yards. Tyler Boyd had 10. T. Higgins had 8 targets for
Yeah.
exactly 0 yards.
Chase had 0 yards too, right?
No, Chase had 39 yards.
Oh, 39 yards. Oh yeah, that's what.
And to me,
Yeah.
the worst part about this is that our guy, who we both love, Big Lou Anarumo, the Bengals defensive coordinator, I mean,
Yeah.
they gave the offense all the time they needed to
Yeah.
warm up and get their
Yeah,
shit
it's like,
together.
can you do it now? Can you do it? It's like we're just waiting for them to finally wake up, and they never.
Because it's
woke
not
up.
like the Browns were good. You know what I
No.
mean? Like Deshaun Watson looked average. He was doing that. Remember last year he threw a lot of balls in the dirt?
Into
He
the
was
ground.
doing
Yeah,
that. He
that's
did that a
normally
lot.
a sign that it's the end of somebody's. Like if you think of these quarterbacks, especially mobile quarterbacks,
Yep.
they start throwing it in the dirt. You got Cam Newton, Donovan McNabb,
Yep.
are two.
Which,
that
of
come to
course,
mind.
you know, that was kind of what turned the game in their favor. You know, Watson got that rushing touchdown right before the half.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking the Bengals would sort themselves out at the half, but
Yeah.
that just did not happen. You know, my man, former Bulldog Nick Chubb, quietly went about his business and had 106 rushing yards without
Yeah.
anyone really paying any attention to it. It was kind of a boring game.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it was all about Myles Garrett. And man, was he in his
Man.
element. Like, did you see that clip of him where he's dancing right before the snap?
No.
He's up at the line and he's just like, he's waiting for the snap and he's swaying back and forth.
Wow.
And then as soon as the ball gets snapped, he makes a move, cuts around the defender, and he's all up in Burrow's face. It's just
Damn, that's some Roy Jones type shit.
he was just out there having fun, bro.
Wow, that's good, man. And it just you really hope for Deshaun Watson for things to work out, right?
Yeah, you know, how could you not root for that guy?
It's so funny, like he's like dancing, and everybody you can see the guilt in everybody. All the fans are just like, yeah.
Terrible
But if
performance.
they win, you want them to win like that.
Sure.
Where it's not on his back type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
I mean, whatever. The Bengals, again, much like the Chiefs, this is a way worse performance, in my opinion, than the Chiefs.
This is concerning, but it was like this last year too.
Yeah, remember week 1? Though, I think he threw like 4 picks in week 1 or something like that. So it's like I'm not too worried about them.
No.
But the schedule is not their friend. I mean, like next week they play the Ravens, so it's not like
imagine going 0-2 in the division. That's not a good start.
No, there's very little margin for error here, so they need to get their shit together right now.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Jags beating the Colts 31-21.
Barely. It felt like I felt like barely when I was watching, and we had pushed our victory to 9.5 in the bet.
Yeah,
and they secured it at the end of the game, and then the Colts, instead of kicking a field goal, they went for it on 4th down, and that's how we won that bet. So it felt good. It was a really fun way to watch that.
Yeah,
but not fun in any other way though.
I would say that on the Colts end, Anthony Richardson, his performance was both interesting and predictable. Mm-hmm. He was exactly what we thought he was going to be. Periodically dynamic, might win you a game or two at some point, but could also be a real liability at times, and will certainly get himself injured if he doesn't learn how to slide instead of insisting on taking all those hits. He went 24 for 37, 223 yards passing, 1 touchdown pass, and 1 rushing touchdown. And my favorite stat of the entire night, former Florida Gator Anthony Richardson throws his first ever NFL interception to my man, former Bulldog Tyson Campbell. Cue up the grapefruit, back up the truck. The fact that this man is not done throwing potential interceptions to former Bulldogs, it just helps me sleep at night. I love it. The Jags got off to a great start. T-Law and his newest associate, Mr. Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
That shit was fire. Ridley has not played a game in almost 2 years. Dude shows up with 8 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown.
11 targets.
Yeah.
He was looking for him, man. Wow.
Yeah. T-Law
And
looked
then
good.
yeah,
He looked good. He looked good.
yeah, yeah, he
Um,
did.
no Jonathan Taylor was a real problem for the Colts, obviously. Richardson was their leading rusher with 40 yards. Deion Jackson, who was supposed to be their competent backup, had only 14 yards on 13 carries. And he fumbled the ball away to the Jags twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who else had a Zay Jones had a fucking crazy ass catch in this game too.
Yeah, man, the touchdown
Yeah, where he was
when
diving
he
to the
gets
back
his
of the end
knee.
zone,
Yeah,
and
and he
he's
catches it like
holding the ball with one
yeah,
hand. Ooh.
yeah, it's beautiful. My mom
Uh,
even went nuts for that one.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
she was like, "Whoa!" She don't know anything about football.
We had a
Well, she's
real
not
rookie.
into it.
We had a real rookie moment in this game. The Jags nearly blew this on a bizarre play that is definitely a learning experience for Jags rookie running back Tank Bigsby. It was a fumble on an attempted pass by T
Oh
Law.
yeah,
Bigsby picks it up and he doesn't go down. And heads up play by the Colts. Dude comes up and punches it out of his
Buckner.
hands, and yeah, and then took it to the house and had the
Yeah, man.
21-17 lead. In college, if you on a play like that, once you've essentially given yourself up, the play is dead.
Yeah, this ain't college.
And he didn't know. There was another play we'll get to later, another college play that fucked the New England Patriots, which was interesting.
Yeah. But shout out to DeForest Buckner, man. I like that dude.
I do like that dude too. But hey, T-Law, to his credit, he pulled his boys together. He got his associates going. They marched down the field, 10-play drive, 5.5 minutes. And they gave the rookie Tank Bigsby a chance to redeem himself. And the kid goes out there and scores the game-winning touchdown. So shout out to him. Travis Etienne had a pretty nice game too. And all was well in the Redneck Riviera, known as Jacksonville. They took care of their business.
Yeah, man. Then we had who picked that one? I know it.
You picked the Jags to win, and you were correct. Next up, I picked the Vikings to beat the Bucks because.
Why would you do that?
I mean, everybody knew that the Vikings were going to beat the Bucks.
Yeah, man.
But they didn't know. They did not know. They did not know like that it was all hail the greatness of White Gino and his band of angry defensive linemen who actually won this game for him. The Baker Mayfield era in Tampa Bay began not quite with a bang, but he got the job done when he needed to. He was 21
Mike
for 30.
Evans, man.
Yeah, he had a good thing going with Mike Evans. He had Baker Mayfield threw two nice touchdown passes. He didn't throw any picks, which, is saying something for him.
He wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
But honestly, he should, if he had said that, if he had leaned, if he did that, I would be like, what is happening? But honestly.
What if he said it with proper English? They wrote me back, but I haven't returned the letter yet.
I have hence been forth written off, but I have made the calculated decision to not scribe back.
Scribe.
We got all Shakespearean on it. Devin White and the Buccaneers D.
Man.
I mean, they just absolutely murdered the Vikings run game, only allowing 41 total rushing yards. They sacked Cousins twice, and both times he fumbled the ball away in the process. He also threw a pick.
Threw a pick too, yeah.
He definitely didn't like that. Besides Justin Jefferson
still had 150 yards.
Yeah, besides him, that was what I was going to say. 150 yards on 9 catches. Outside of that, the Vikings offense was just a complete no-show. Rookie Jordan Addison had a nice day. He had 61 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. He looked as advertised. But overall, for what was one of the best shows in town last year, these Vikings looked very disappointing.
I was surprised that defense gave up 20 points to the Bucks, man.
I was turnovers, man. Turnovers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. You put them in
turnovers. You get 2 sack fumble recoveries, and you're in business. You know
Yeah,
what
they
I
were
mean?
lighting him up, man.
Yeah.
Who picked the next one? It's you, right?
Next
No,
up,
me.
you can just assume that you got everything right. Actually, no. This was the one game I got right. I picked.
No, you
No,
picked the
sorry.
Vikings. I
You
picked
picked
the Saints.
you picked the Titans.
I mean, I picked the Titans, yeah, and I
You
got it
picked the
wrong.
Titans to beat the Saints. The Saints beat the Titans 16-15. Um, yeah, this was one of those where it was like, do not adjust your television set. DeAndre
Man,
Hopkins is a Titan and Derek Carr is a Saint. It's true. But there things have changed, but there's one thing that has not changed, and that's that Ryan Tannehill sucks big, giant donkey balls. This man was bad.
he is the sole reason for the loss. Normally, you can't just put it on them. They held him. They held him to what, 16, 17 points. No, 16 points. They held the Saints to 16 points and couldn't win because Tannehill just repeatedly, over and over, just kept giving them the ball back.
16 for 34, 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 picks. And very nearly threw 2 more. All their points came from field goals. Derrick Henry was average at best. Only 63 yards on 15 carries. They targeted D-Hop 13 times because Tannehill, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a beach ball. The dude was terrible. He was, and on a night where the Saints weren't even really that impressive, right? Saints run game was shit.
They were trying to kind of figure it out. Taysom Hill getting a deep pass, like what?
The run game was shit. Carr got sacked 4 times. Michael Thomas was back, but wasn't really relevant. Chris Olave continues to be the only interesting player on the Saints roster. If anything happens to him, this team is going to spiral just completely out of existence. This if we had the soundboard, this would be the Brady quote. There's just a lot of bad football out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. Both teams looked.
I liked Rashid Shaheed.
He was fun. He was fun. I liked him too. He was kind of fun last year, but they didn't use him much. I'm curious what they're going to do when as the season's moving forward.
I feel like they might be a sneaky team, but the fact that I just it's hard to not think that coach is going to hold them back.
Hey, everyone's out here dunking on the NFC South. We got a 3-way tie for first place, baby. Let's go.
Week 1, baby. Then we had a pretty shocking result.
Okay. Next up, I picked the Steelers to beat the 49ers.
In an upset is what you thought.
And I got to say that these 49ers are making it very difficult for me to continue trash talking Kyle Shanahan. It's really annoying.
I came around this season, man. Come on, join us.
It's super annoying. The 49ers were one of the few teams in the early window that was firing on all cylinders from the get-go. McCaffrey was a beast. 22 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown. And I read somewhere yesterday, I don't remember the exact number, but it was something like, I think over 100 of those yards were after contact.
Wow.
I mean, this man, Purdy was solid. He was as advertised, 19 for 29, 220, 2 touchdowns.
Ayuk was laughing at the defense. Yuck.
Ayuk had a night, son. Yeah. I don't know if you can have a more perfect night. The guy had 8 targets, 8 receptions, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the second one, a combination between an amazing catch and the most picture perfect pass you could possibly make. Like you couldn't put that pass anywhere else and it'd be a catch.
The best quarterback in football, man. I don't know if you know where he was drafted. But no, I'm just kidding.
Did you see all the stats from yesterday? This kid is like in regular season games. He's still yet to lose a game. Brock Purdy
he started the game they lost though in the playoffs. Oh, you said a regular season. Okay.
I'm saying a regular season play. The kid's he still has yet to lose a game.
All right, enough.
Anyway, the Steelers on the other hand, Pickett was terrible. 31 for 46, 232 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. They only had 41 total rushing yards. Najee Harris was a non-factor. Deontay Johnson, who I thought was going to go crazy in this game, did very little and then had to leave with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
My man, former Bulldog George Pickens, had one circus catch, but he didn't get his feet in bounds, so it didn't count.
Yeah.
TJ Watt was the only thing you could say. He's the only player on the Steelers that looked ready to go. Dude had 3 sacks all by himself.
But I mean, you bring up the rushing yards, but they got behind early. They became one-dimensional. Pickett threw it 46 times. So, of course, they couldn't run to stay in it. So, look, they only tried to run it 10 times. And one of them is Pickett, so there might have been just a play that fell apart, and he had to just scramble for 4 yards. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I wouldn't panic too much, especially considering how the Steelers are. But I think maybe the 49ers are just that fucking good.
I mean, the defense is legit. I mean, they really are.
It's the best roster in the game, bro.
They really are. I mean, the line. I mean, they sacked Pickett, I think, 5 times, and then obviously Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga.
Yeah,
they were like, "You shall not pass." I'm sorry, it's not happening. I mean, it was lights out from the first snap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
The next game, I picked the Washington Commanders to beat the Cardinals, and I was right, but
barely.
Not much. Barely.
Yeah,
that was a. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you have to say it wasn't pretty. But the first game of the post Dan Snyder era in the nation's capital. The Commanders fans, you could tell it. They were,
yes.
The stadium was packed, and the vibes were good, man. The vibes were good. They got the dub. Turns out that the Cardinals waiting to announce their starting quarterback as some sort of a competitive advantage was predictably as dumb as you could have possibly imagined. They said on the broadcast, I was like, I almost had, if I had live TV, I think I would have rewound this to be like, did I really hear him say that? On the broadcast, they said that Joshua Dobbs, who started the game, despite having only joined the team 2 weeks ago, told the media that he's just glad that everyone has their name on the back of their jersey because he doesn't even know all of his teammates' names yet, much less the playbook.
Wow.
The Commanders played from behind for most of the game. Until Sam Howell got himself a rushing touchdown early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And even then they damn near blew it, until Dobbs had his 3rd fumble of the game. This was another just really, really bad football game.
What is it about Sam Howell that makes me feel like he might be good? I don't know. He like passes the eye test for me for some reason.
I feel like Sam Howell. I'm not. I feel the opposite. I feel like Sam Howell is basically the next Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Like
no,
he
man.
He plays with
pocket presence is already better.
He plays with a lot of heart. He's super hyped and intense and into the game, obviously. But I don't know if his talent level is where it should be in order for him to be a starting quarterback. I don't know. I don't buy it. I'm not buying it.
Oh, okay, cool. That'd be something good to watch throughout the season.
Yeah. My prediction is that he's the next Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
All
right, then we got the Texans Ravens. Finally, you picked the Ravens to win. You were right.
I did. They didn't look like they wanted to win. This new offense, fine-tuned by my man, former Bulldog Todd Monken, had Lamar Jackson looking like dog shit. Is this one of Lamar Jackson's worst games? I mean,
I don't know, 17 for 22, 169 yards, man. And everybody got so happy when Odell Beckham made a catch.
Whatever. I mean, they
But
won the
him and Zay
game.
Flowers, that looks good, man.
That did look good. I mean, they won the game thanks to a 15-point third quarter. But this was
Yeah,
nearly a total disaster. Uh, Lamar also fumbled the ball twice because he
yeah.
continues to hold the ball like it's a loaf of bread.
The last one was so stupid. Like he was really holding the ball, and he's like tapping himself on the chest, like my bad. Like, oh really? Is it?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Zay Flowers thing was great. Let's see, CJ Stroud, I would say was probably the best looking quarterback on the day for me.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
It didn't translate to very many points, but
But they trust him. They had him throw the ball 44 times.
you can see that this kid has something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the Ravens D was relentless while
Hmm.
the offense took time to get going. Four
And they had a
sacks.
Clowney sighting.
Yep. 4 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. They held the Texans to only 72 total rushing yards. Patrick Queen was balling. My man, former Bulldog Roquan Smith was balling. The whole defense just came out and did their damn job, giving the offense a chance to wake up, just like in the Bengals game. But in this case, it worked out for the Ravens. Um, yeah, I think that narrative of like, okay, new offense, is it going to take time for this to get, to really be what we think it is? I think that's true. I think it may take a couple of games for them to settle into this
Yeah.
offense and figure it out. They also, sadly, poor J.K. Dobbins, this fucking guy, so many
Mhm.
injury issues throughout the years, hasn't played a lot of football, leaves this game with an Achilles, done for the year. Guess that makes Gus Edwards their lead running back now.
He did go to
Uh,
the U, so it makes sense.
hmm.
He had him a touchdown. Then we had I don't know, man, like a surprise ass whooping. Who picked this one? Bears versus
um,
Packers. I picked
you
the
you picked the
Packers.
Packers. You picked the Packers to beat the Bears. You're not buying Justin Fields. The Bears, okay. The Bears have not only not beaten. I mean, they have not beaten the Packers since December 16th, 2018. Somebody said I saw
Uh,
something. Somebody wrote something on Twitter. It was like Aaron Rodgers um, owns Soldier Field, but now that he's gone, Jordan Love is out here Airbnb in it. That's pretty good.
That's great.
But this was your shot, Bears. You suffered the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers era, back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. This was your chance to announce that this quasi Green Bay ownership of your franchise was over, and all you did was confirm that you probably took the wrong quarterback.
Bro, Justin Fields attempted 37 passes, man,
Oh no,
and completed 24 of them. It's not
and
so
he's
bad.
no, but my problem with him is that he's exactly who we remember him from last year. His ability
Yeah,
to evade pass rushers at
yeah,
times seems magical, right? There was at least one case in this game where I had to watch it like 3 times. I still didn't understand how he didn't get sacked. He truly has this handful of skill sets that
yeah,
qualify as elite. But if throwing the ball ain't one of them,
yeah.
you got
All for
problems.
naught. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because sometimes it's like, yeah, sometimes it's like, what is he thinking? What is he doing? Yeah.
he also threw a pick six to my man, former Bulldog Quay Walker. Just saying.
How is this
Uh,
happening? How?
it was. I mean, I'm telling you, these Bulldogs were balling out
Oh
in Week
man.
1. Jordan Love, on the other hand, looked like
Mm.
he was worth the wait. He looks like he was
Hmm.
worth the wait. The dude was calm. He was clean. 15
Yeah.
for 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no picks. He did a great job getting the ball to Aaron Jones out of the backfield. Um, he appears to, unlike Aaron Rodgers, have a very real connection with Romeo Dobbs, who had 2
Hmm.
touchdown catches in this game. I mean,
Is
this
Watson
is
hurt?
Watson did not play. I don't know what his injury is, but he didn't play. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, Bears fans, you might want to close your ears or fast forward a little bit on this part because I'm gonna I'm going to compare. This was all over the news yesterday. Compare Aaron Rodgers' first start to Jordan Love's first start.
Uh-oh.
2008, Rodgers' first start as a Packer, 178 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and a win. Jordan Love's first start, 2023, 245 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and a win.
Ooh.
I'm sorry to say it, but it looks like the Packers' reign of terror is set to continue.
Wow. We'll see, man. It's one game.
True.
We'll see. But it was Watson's out with a hamstring injury, so probably be a couple weeks.
Yeah. Next up is when my luck started to turn a little bit. I picked the Raiders to beat the Broncos. This was another game.
It was their last victory of the year. Their only victory of the year.
Yeah, it might be the only game they win. This was another game between two teams that just looked like they weren't ready to play football.
Yeah.
Both teams swapped touchdowns on their first drives, and then the game just turned into a slog.
Yeah.
Though I will say this, Sean Payton announcing his return to the NFL by trying to do an onside kick on the opening kickoff.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was ballsy.
If homeboy didn't hit it
and they should have gotten it. I mean, that was like that. I was here for that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Both defenses stepped up because neither team could run the ball particularly well.
Yeah.
It took a while for me to adjust to Josh Jacobs wearing the number 8. Did that look weird to you? That looked weird to me.
Yes.
I was like, huh? I thought it was weird. I would say the only thing that piqued my interest was Jimmy G's apparent connection with Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, but did they play together?
Yeah, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, yeah, it's like you go into the game like everybody else thinking it's going to be all about Devontae Adams, but it felt like every other pass was Jimmy to Jacoby. It was like, damn.
But did Jacoby Myers make it to New England after Jimmy G left?
I would imagine so.
Oh, you know what? They both know that offense because they both played under McDaniels. That's probably
true.
what it is.
That's true. Yeah.
Smart of McDaniels to bring him in.
In the end, somebody had to win because it ain't like Lovie Smith is out here. And when the Broncos punted the ball away to the Raiders with 5 minutes and change left on the clock, they probably thought they were going to get the ball back, but they didn't. The Raiders grounded and pounded the rock until the clock went down to double zeros. It wasn't pretty, but they did what they needed to do in the end, and they got the dub. So
yeah, man. So
we
go from probably one of the worst games of the week to the best game of the week. Who is the next game?
Eagles Patriots.
Oh, my bad.
That was not the best game of the week. You're getting a little ahead of yourself.
We're almost there. For my boys.
We're almost there.
Okay, my bad.
Eagles beat the Patriots 25-20. Eagles win this one just barely. They got that 16-point lead, and then the Patriots D stepped up because the Eagles were out here struggling.
My question is there anything funnier than Mac Jones trying to make a tackle after he throws an interception?
Yes, Phillip Rivers trying to make a tackle after
he's out of the league. So Mac Jones is our new turtle tackler.
Yeah.
Like it's the way he just like it's happened so many times too, man. It's like every pick six he ends up in some way being the last line of defense.
Which reminds me, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I gotta say the best hit of the week belongs to Justin Jefferson. Did you see that hit when Kirk Cousins threw that pick and the guy didn't see Jefferson coming up behind? He just laid that dude out. That was amazing. Anyway, back to this game. The Patriots, I think, on paper, flat out, like they outplayed the Eagles.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for this rookie Kayshon Boutte still thinking that he was in college, forgetting to put his second foot down at the end of the game there.
It was a good defensive effort too. Because the guy's beat, but he pushes him. He tried to drag that toe, but he got pushed and he couldn't get down in time.
That's not the way I saw it. I saw a guy who...
That guy was good, man. That was a smart play to push him with the rule changing a few years ago. It was really smart to just like make sure to push him, even though he caught it. He's trying to drag his toe.
Mm, either way, it's very tough to recover when you throw a pick six right out of the
Yeah,
gate to Darius Slay.
yeah,
And then on the next drive, Zeke fumbles the ball away.
yeah.
And then it's just
That
nothing but,
skinny post pass,
yeah.
Mac
And then you,
Jones. Mm,
and then you follow it up with just 3-and-out punts, for the majority of the first half. But they had the Eagles right where they wanted them, turned them over
yeah.
on downs late in the fourth quarter. They're in the red zone. And they just couldn't punch it in.
Hurts fumble
Um,
too.
yep. Yeah. I would say I would say that your prediction that the Patriots defense are gonna they're gonna make it's gonna make that team a tough out week after
Yeah,
week.
every week,
Um,
man. I'm worried about him. We got him next week.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
Eagles, I would say, yeah, I would say they struggled. Um,
All right.
now we
Who
can
picked?
move on to the game of the week.
Who picked that game?
I'm pretty sure you picked the Eagles to beat the Patriots. You were
Okay.
correct.
All
Mhm.
right. So what's
And then
this one?
next up, Dolphins to beat the Chargers. I have
Yes.
I have nothing I have nothing but reactions to say. Please tell me what was your situation while you were watching this game? This was one of the
Bruh.
craziest shootouts I've seen in a long time. You guys must have been freaking out.
Man. And then they left at the half because they live like 45 minutes away.
Mm,
So they were like, we're going to try to get home and watch the rest of it. Or watch it in the morning because they had to work. But I stayed up screaming in my apartment. I had once I saw Armstead was going to be out, I just figured Tua would be under fire the whole game.
mm.
And somehow they found this guy, man. I think Lamb is his last name. I had never heard of him before yesterday, and he just didn't give up anything. And he was going against Joey Bosa, and
They
they're just
they
saying they're
didn't even
saying that
touch. They didn't
no,
even touch him. Not a
didn't
finger.
touch him. They could, and Tua just clean all day. He left like it looked like he was starting the game. The only thing that got dirty was when he scrambled and slid. So maybe the side of his pants. You know what I mean? They were,
All that off-season jujitsu training for nothing. They never even touched him.
well, hopefully it stays that way. But Tua, besides he threw some his belief in himself sometimes gets him in trouble. He threw a
Sure.
bad pick. He tried to squeeze something in there that is just risky. But Tyreek Hill was the story, man. There's a new wrinkle to the Dolphins offense that you're gonna start seeing people doing. But at the snap,
Mm.
Tyreek Hill or a player goes in motion from the slot towards the sidelines, and then like the motion begins and he's running full speed, and then he shoots up. You can't bump him. You can't do anything but just react and try your best. And then he'll come inside after doing that. You're done. You're done. It's a new thing they added, and it's on the perimeter too. So now if you start watching that, they're back in the middle. It's like McDaniel's playing chess out there. I was concerned because they couldn't stop the run, but I guess they wanted to keep Justin Herbert in check. And it turned out to be a fantastic game where it was so good that I didn't mind. I was like, you know what? If we lose, we lose. And then the kicker misses the extra point. And then the defense finally got kissed on the cheek by the Prince, woke up, and then destroyed Herbert for like 3 plays in a row to end the game because he had an intentional ground. It was like sack, intentional grounding, sack. You know, it's just like it was over. So thank goodness.
So Tua goes 28 for 45, throws for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Loved it.
Tyreek Hill all by him damn self. 215 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. I mean,
That's almost Justin Herbert's numbers.
it's crazy, dude. Crazy. I mean, and also like I was really shocked by the Chargers inability. Like I get that Tyreek Hill is fast, but at some point, don't you gotta double cover this man? Like
That's
at
what they
what point?
said on. I was watching the morning Good Morning Football, and then Kyle Brandt was like, "You get to 150, okay, you
Yeah.
got your 150. We're not letting you score. It's like basketball. You
Yeah,
get 50 points. Okay, everybody else is gonna have to beat us because you're not gonna beat us. It's like it never happened. But
it's
it's
crazy.
defensive genius that knows Sean McVay.
I mean, it was crazy. It was an insane, entertaining football game.
Yeah.
Um,
And they were, and I think it might be that these offenses see these defenses every day in practice. It's the same schemes that
right.
both of our teams run. So maybe the offenses were like, we know what's happening here. Maybe that's why it was such a shootout. But it was
Mm.
fun, man. It was just stressful too.
What was that? What was that stat about the Chargers? How many points have they scored in their
Mm.
last 3 games?
92 points in the last 3 games.
How many games? How many times have they won those 3 games?
0, 0 for 3. Last three
They're
games, 3
they.
losses, 92 points. Averaging damn near 30 points a game. It's insane.
I mean, yeah,
Defensive coach.
same old
Yeah, so,
Chargers.
yeah, man. Chargers gonna charge it. They chargered. Then we got the Rams and Seahawks in what I would consider a big time upset.
Absolutely. You picked the Seahawks to win this game.
Yeah, dude.
Full disclosure, I would have done the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. I did not see the Rams hanging 30 points on the Seahawks. I think you look at the.
Remember when you were trying to tell me the Seahawks were gonna win a division?
I did tell you that, but I did not
It's still
know.
good.
I got to be honest. I, like everybody else in the rest of the world, had never heard of Puka Nakua. Who the
Oh
fuck?
no.
Who the fuck is Puka Nakua? This guy basically slotted in and became Cooper Cup, like with a snap
Yeah.
of your fingers. The guy was everywhere. Him and Tutu Atwell. I
Tutu
was like,
Atwell too, man. Yeah.
but the team comparison stats. This to me was quite hilarious. Rams versus Seahawks. First downs, 27-13. Rams. Total plays, 78-46. Rams.
Damn.
Total yards, 426 to 180 to the Rams. Total time of possession, 40 minutes for the Rams, 20 minutes for the Seahawks. Number of total drives, dead even at 9 apiece.
Wow.
The Seahawks did not have a single first down in the second half. What the fuck happened here? What happened?
I'm looking at the punts. The Seahawks punted 4 times. And the and the and the Rams punted once.
And this clip that's going around of Geno Smith dropping back to pass and throwing the ball right before Aaron Donald was getting ready to put him on his ass.
Yeah.
And you can hear him. Oh my God.
That's great.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I don't know, man. I don't know about the Seahawks, bro. You're not supposed to lose like that at home. We didn't mention that part.
Yep.
Which one of the few teams that still has a home field advantage with the way the stadium is built. Another home ass whooping was the Giants versus is that the next game? Am I wrong?
Yep. It is.
It's Giants versus Cowboys.
I picked the Cowboys to beat the Giants, and they did convincingly.
Yeah. You talked about streaks, bro. You talked about the Bears owning.
Yep.
Or
the Packers owning the Bears.
the Packers owning the Bears. And I didn't notice until I was watching that game that this is the 13th victory in a row. I believe they said 13 in a row or 14th, unless if they're trying to break the streak. I don't know, but it might have been the 13th. I don't know. Either way, god damn, it's got to be the longest streak. It's got to be. But yeah, it was bad, and it wasn't because of anything except for, as we predicted before the season started, Dallas doesn't need to do much. Their defense is phenomenal.
It's
they had
crazy.
two touchdowns by this defense. Michael Parsons. He's insanely good, man. He was, he's the best defensive player in the league, and it's
7 sacks,
amazing to watch him.
7 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 2 picks, and a blocked field goal that they scooped up and took to the house.
Noah
I
Igbenogany, former
yeah.
Dolphin, man. Yeah, he picked that up and ran it
They
over.
did. The offense didn't even need to score a single point, and they win this
No.
game. To me, I woke up when I saw the score. I thought to myself, we could start a new sort of segment, the wide open can of whoop ass of the week, brought to you by Brisket and Friends, of course. Honestly,
Yeah, I like it. It could be the
and the
Brisket and
looks
Friends baked beans of the week.
and all those close-ups on the Giants players' faces, on the
Yeah.
Giants fans'
Dejected. Yeah.
faces,
Yeah.
like it's the day, it's New York.
Hmm.
All this preseason hype
Yeah.
about how good the Giants were last year. Daniel Jones got paid. They brought in
Oh.
Darren Waller. They still got Saquon. A lot of hope, a lot of maybe feeling a little disrespected because everyone's paying attention to the Jets because of the Hard Knocks thing, and the Giants come in and lay an absolute egg. I mean, nothing went right. Nothing.
Daniel Jones with 104 yards.
Crazy. I mean, the only solace that I could offer to Giants fans is that it's week one. It can't possibly get worse than this. Like, if you're
No,
going to
that's
get
gotta be
beat this bad, get beat in week one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Damn.
And then just move on.
Yeah. Then the final game. It's a little sadness involved here, but
Oh my God.
the Jets got to play the Bills. You picked this game, right?
No.
No, I
You
picked it.
you picked the Bills to beat the Jets.
Yeah, I picked the Bills to beat the Jets like everybody did. We thought it was going to be different type of game, but with an outcome of the Bills winning. But the Jets pulled it out. Have you seen it, or did you just watch highlights or something?
I watched the game in 40 this morning when I woke up.
Okay. Oh my God.
4 plays into Aaron Rodgers'
Yeah.
season
Tenure.
with the Jets, he goes down with what they're saying is probably an Achilles injury. That means you got Zach Wilson for the rest of the way. It completely changes the way I think about the Jets for the rest of the
Yeah.
season. Completely,
I mean,
despite having won this game.
yeah, they won the game, but they definitely should have lost if it weren't for Josh Allen. I don't know, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, has a thing for the safety that he keeps throwing the ball to. I don't know. Something was wrong with Josh Allen, and he couldn't get out of the way to let the team win the game. That's all they had to do was just score.
3 interceptions Josh Allen threw to the same guy, Jordan Whitehead.
Yeah.
Josh Allen was 29 for 41, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. And the first 2 picks were like punts.
Yeah.
Like typical Josh Allen. Like
Yeah.
I got it, just throwing it up there.
He did it
thinking-
again. That didn't get picked off though.
It's
what is
almost
this
like
guy
he-
doing?
It's like he thinks he has Tyreek Hill. I don't think there's any other, like, that's one of the, like, no knock against Tua, but it must be so nice to be able to just loft a rainbow pass like that and just know that if you have Tyreek Hill, he's probably going to figure out a way to get under it. But Josh Allen doesn't have that. He had a terrible game.
Yeah.
Absolutely dreadful.
And the team was playing well. The defense was playing well. The Jets were just trying to just run it and grind our way to some field goals. It seemed to be their strategy. And then Wilson had an amazing touchdown catch that
was crazy.
Because Zach Wilson threw is that guy? What's his name? The receiver, is it Wilson?
Yeah,
Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Wilson to Wilson? Yeah, Garrett
Wilson to Wilson.
Like Wilson. Had to make sure that was right. Wilson gets the bad pass from Zach Wilson, throws an inside fade or whatever that was, taps it to himself to catch it. And that's basically what won the game. But the game goes to overtime. Game goes to overtime. It's like, okay, despite the 4 turnovers, they'll figure it out and they'll win this game. And they get stopped, have to punt, and the guy who was the last person, according to Hard Knocks, the last person to make the team gets to punt.
Xavier Gibson, undrafted receiver who comes into camp, wins a spot on the roster,
Yeah.
shifty as hell. Takes this punt all the way to the house for the Jets to get their first victory of the year. So, you
Over
know,
Buffalo. It's like a
over
big win. Yeah.
it's such a big deal. But I leave this game with such mixed feelings. You know what I mean? It's like you feel happy for them,
Hmm.
um, that all of this preseason hype paid off in a victory, but at the same time, I feel like losing Aaron Rodgers spells doom for them.
Oh yeah. I mean, the
Complete.
way it looked like Zach Wilson looked bad, man. He got it together later, but it's still like we know what we have. It feels like he is what we thought, and he needed to sit down and watch Rodgers, kind of like Jordan Love did. He might have needed that more than we. He definitely didn't need to have to go in there and be the face of the franchise.
The other surprising thing that you could say on a positive note, you know, I came into this game assuming that Dalvin Cook was going to be the main running back
Mm,
for the Jets. And it seemed like because Brees Hall is coming
yeah,
off the ACL from last year, that they were going to ease him back into the lineup. But this kid had 10 carries for 127 yards. He was
yeah,
unstoppable. He
yeah.
was
They were
he was
gouging
as
him.
good. He was as good as we remember him from last year. He's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. They were gouging him, man. It was like I left there a little concerned for Buffalo. The most concerning thing is this guy keeps throwing these picks. Why is he? You're playing the Jets. You know they don't have their guy, Aaron Rodgers. You know their offense is going to suffer from that. Why is he throwing the ball 41 times? I don't know.
Yeah, and based on what I saw, they still continue to like. It's like they haven't watched the tape. Like they went out and drafted my man, former Bulldog James Cook, but I feel like they never actually watched the tape because they don't understand. Like you got to get this guy out on the edge.
Yeah,
You got to you got to throw him screen passes in space and just let him go. Like
they
but
ran the ball 16 times, bro.
they're trying to run him up the middle like he's you know like he's Derrick Henry or something. It's like no, he's a smaller running back. He's shifty. You got to get him out in space. You just do.
I'd like to see some outside zone from the shotgun, even. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Stretch it out some. If he's a perimeter runner, I don't know
yeah.
what. I don't know, man. I feel like is Josh Allen changing the plays? The fact that they only have 16 run attempts in a game like this, or maybe they just
Mm.
felt like they can't run on this defense. I don't know,
I
but
mean, full credit to the Jets defense. They played a great game.
yeah, they did.
But at
Quinn
the same
Williams,
time,
man, he's a
Quentin Williams
beast.
he's a game wrecker. I had very real concerns about the Bills going into this season, and I feel like Josh Allen is trying to prove me right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. I feel good as a
um,
Dolphins fan. I'm a little mad. I let you talk me into the Bills in our division bet.
I'm mad too, man. I wish I could go back and change it.
Yeah, and I was, we'll see. All right, so that's all the games. We could do our superlatives, and then we can get on out of here, bro.
Hmm.
Now we're gonna do our superlatives, brought to you by Brisket and Friends, best barbecue this side of all the water in Sweden.
I love it.
What you got for your real MVP?
I could have gone Tua or Tyreek, but I figured that you were going to do that.
What?
So I think I'll add an extra layer of homerism. I decided to go with my man, current Falcon, Jesse Bates the third. I cannot remember the last time I could say that a defensive player is the reason why the Atlanta Falcons won a football game. He led the team in total tackles. He caused a fumble that was scooped up by my man, former Bulldog Lorenzo Carter. He had not one but two motherfucking interceptions. And every time JB3 turned him over, the offense was able to go down the field and put up points. 17 of our 24 points coming as a direct result from JB3 putting the ball back in our hands made the difference in this game. So Jesse Bates the third, you are my real MVP, baby.
You the real MVP.
Yeah.
Well, before the season started, Tyreek Hill said he's coming for 2,000 yards. It's never been done before. The record is still held by Calvin Johnson. It's 19 something. And everybody knows that Tyreek Hill said that, and everybody makes him their number one target. They want to stop this guy from being the one to beat him. But for some reason, not today. Not on the Chargers defense. And Tyreek Hill puts up on 11 catches, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, one backflip. I don't know, man. The dude is amazing.
What's
And
the
then he's like, what's up?
what's the record?
It's 1900 and something, I believe. I could look it up, but
He's
Tyreek said
he's currently on pace for 3,655 yards. Just saying. If you let him put up 215 a week, yeah, he's currently on pace for 3,655.
yeah, that's crazy. But
Talk about a week one overreaction.
yeah, I know, right? He's gonna get it. The record is 1964 by Calvin Johnson. And the closest was Cooper Kupp in 2021 with 1947. So he almost got it, man. I remember when he went nuts that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tyreek went nuts. He was getting some good passes from Tua, but he seemed so open. This new wrinkle in the offense, nobody is ready for it. I'm glad they unleashed it because it seemed like this was the week they needed to, and Tyreek got to show off what he can do. And I'm glad that he got touchdowns because a lot of times he gets a bunch of yards and then somebody else scores because he gets tackled or it's hard to, you can't overthrow him. So it's almost like everything's an underthrow because he's so damn fast. And he actually got the touchdowns. So this week, Tyreek Hill, you the real MVP.
Amazing.
I could do my trash if you wanna wait up.
Sure.
You wanna jump in. All right. I went to bed last night with my Joe Burrow trash decision decided. I didn't think that would change because how could anyone perform worse than Joe Burrow? If Joe Burrow was 14 for 31, 82 yards, and a 52.2 quarterback rating. He didn't have the game you'd expect from the highest paid player in the NFL. He didn't have any touchdowns at all, but he also didn't have any interceptions. Which brings me to my trash. Josh Allen is in every media pundit's top 5. Every goddamn time I turn on the TV, I see Josh Allen in a commercial. I called the guy Fool's Gold years ago. And then every now and then he drops a dud of a game, making me feel like I might have been right, even though I know I'm not right. And Monday night was one of those games. I thought it was jitters when he threw that first pick. Everything was all weird in the building when Rodgers got carted off from the blue tent. So maybe it was that. Both teams were in a funk. But you're top 5, Josh. Bounce back. But Josh didn't bounce back, did he? He threw the ball to Jordan Whitehead again. Zach Wilson was being himself, so they stayed in it. Josh would be okay, right? No, he wasn't. He threw the ball to Jordan Whitehead for a third time. What the fuck is happening? The Jets were still reeling, so they couldn't really pull away. All the Bills needed was to get one last score and steal this victory and regroup. Maybe don't throw it, Josh. You're a dual threat. Just run it. He called his own number as he does, despite Cook having a pretty decent game whenever they actually gave him the ball. He took his eyes off the snap, probably looking for Jordan Whitehead so he could throw it to him. And it hit him in the chest. He got a good bounce, picked it up. And then he ran into his own lineman, fumbled the ball for his 4th turnover of the game.
Wow.
It was enough to keep the Jets in the game. Redemption was not attained in overtime. The upset was official. And the only one to blame was Josh Allen. Your comment about him wanting to be the hero made me look at his play completely differently. And it seemed that is his problem. And that's why this week, Josh Allen, you are trash.
Wow. That was thorough.
Yeah.
That was a thorough undressing. I love it. For my trash, I decided to go with the entire Cincinnati Bengals team. O-line was dreadful. They only had 76 total rushing yards. Burrow, 14 for 31, 82 yards, no touchdowns. Not a great look after getting the bag. Jamar Chase, 39 yards receiving. T. Higgins, 8 targets, 0 catches. Obviously, 0 yards. And they got beat by a very average to below average Cleveland Browns. As I said before, the Browns D, they did their job. They gave them a chance. The game was there for the taking. Deshaun Watson looked like shit. I just kept thinking the Bengals would adjust, but they didn't. And this is not acceptable, in my opinion, for a team that thinks that they're going to walk around and start talking shit. Last year they fucked up with the Burrowhead thing. In this game, Jamar Chase was making fun of the fact that the Browns have this elf logo.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, just shut the fuck up and play football, okay? You know, you ain't been good for that long. So, show up. Yep. Bengals are my trash this week.
You are trash. Shit got learned. Should I do it or you want to go?
You go ahead.
All right. I learned that the hottest coach's seat in the NFL needs to be, without a doubt, Brandon Staley's seat. This guy has got to really get his shit together. Now, maybe Miami was the perfect team to exploit his defense, considering they had played him fairly recently and unveiled a new wrinkle in the offense and faced that style of defense in practice every day. Then it would be understandable. But there's this alarming statistic that you brought up earlier. The Chargers have scored 92 points in their last 3 games, and that's a lot of points. And in those games, they're 0-3.
Damn.
Brandon Staley is supposed to be a defensive coach. He has a really good defensive roster. 92 points should be more than enough to win those games. I'm sure the owners are aware of that stat. One of the hottest OCs in the game are on the Chargers staff. They have the quarterback of their future. They probably have advisors that told them to fire Staley after the Jaguars debacle, who are now sending "I told you so" text messages to them. Tennessee, Minnesota, and Vegas are coming up before a really early Week 5 bye week. That seat is on fire right now.
Wow.
That's my shit that got learned.
Interesting. My shit got learned. Let's see. Besides learning that the Falcons are going to win the 2023 Super Bowl, my shit got learned is something I actually already knew, which is that week 1 of the NFL calendar it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at these results and start forming opinions and hot takes, but in reality, week 1 is rarely predictive of anything. I think I said this last year too. And the real question is, how do I know this? History is the answer. Okay. Week 1, 2022. The Bears beat the 49ers 19-10. Justin Fields was electric. He had announced himself to the league as a unique quarterback talent, a one of one who was about to take over the league. The Bears went on to win exactly 2 more games for the rest of the year. 2021, Saints boat raced the Packers 38-3 in what was one of Rodgers' worst games of his entire career. Many claiming the Aaron Rodgers era to be dead, or at the very least on life support. What does he do? He goes on to win back-to-back MVP. 2020, Gardner Minshew led Jaguars beat the Phillip Rivers Colts 27-20. Minshew mania gripped the nation. Everyone was talking about this mustached magician under center. You know how many games they won for the rest of the season? 0. Whoa. Not a single one. They went 1-15 that year. So everybody just needs to relax, bro. Week 1 means nothing. Chin up, Bengals fans. You'll get them next time, Steelers fans, Seahawks fans. It's all good. Literally anything could happen from this moment moving forward. Anything.
It's true.
Unless you're a Giants fan, because you guys appear to be completely fucked. I'm sorry. But
nice. Who's your scariest AFC team?
Scariest AFC team. I mean, it's easy. It's Dolphins.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
I mean, 1-2 punch of Hill and Waddle. The way they started the game, coming out on top of a shootout like that, Tua throwing for all those yards, Tyreek going nuclear.
They left everybody points knows on the table too, because they had the botch snap and they had the pick in the red zone. Like when they could have put up a 40 burger.
When you have one of those receivers where everybody knows the ball's coming to him, but you still can't stop him, it's sort of like Kansas City when Kelsey's on the field. You know who he's going to throw it to. Yeah. You know exactly who he's going to throw it to.
Or Gronk, when Gronk was out there.
Yeah, Gronk was the same. Dolphins are terrifying.
Yeah. NFC scariest team.
As much as I hate to say it, there's only one answer. It's the 49ers. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted them to suck so bad, but they look like a well-oiled machine. They really do. They look like they're
Yeah.
getting ready to just pile drive through that conference.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying it's the first week. I know that doesn't mean much, but the scariest AFC team, scariest NFC team happens to be my Super Bowl pick. Just throwing it out there.
I will say this. There were some things going on in the fourth quarter of that 49ers game that had me like Kyle Shanahan playing Christian McCaffrey in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
when you're up 30 to whatever, it's like, are you trying to fuck this up? What is wrong with you? Fine, it went okay, but I'm telling you, that's the shit that gets me when he does that stuff.
Gambler, yeah. All right, and we'll wrap this up with putting some Speck on somebody's name. I want to start it off by saying put some Speck on White Gino and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everyone thought they'd be a bottom 5 team with a lame duck coach and a pariah at quarterback, but they gave the Vikings a fight and pulled out the big win. They have the Bears next week, and that could start up a little bit of momentum early in the season. So put some Speck on the White Gino and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Nice. I'm going to go with Sean McVay.
Oh, he has Speck, man. How many coaches are hired just because of him?
Yeah, but the whole offseason, everyone in the NFL media landscape has been dunking on McVay and the Rams. They said that my man, former Bulldog Matthew Stafford, was washed. They said the roster was trash. They said outside of Cooper Kupp, who the hell are they going to throw the ball to? And that's when McVay rolled out in week 1 and showed that Shanahan and Andy Reid are not the only coaches in the league that can do this shit without those household names. Hold my motherfucking beer and watch me dial up 119 yards receiving to Tutu Atwell and one of my new favorite names in the NFL, Puka Nacua. Not impressed? Okay. How about 2 rushing touchdowns for rookie 5th-round running back Kieran Williams out of Notre Dame? And all of this while holding the Seahawks to only 13 points in the first half and 0 motherfucking points in the second half. This performance might be some week 1 fairy dust type shit. I have no idea. But based on this performance, there is a lot of crow going around because there is a ton of people who need to put some Speck on Sean McVay's name.
Ooh, well said, man. Well said. I was taking the respect for granted, but you're right. They were doubting this man.
Completely.
Yeah. Well, man, we did it, man. The first week is in the books, and we've talked about it. And next time we talk, we're going to be talking about week 2, man. It's gone, man. Football season is here, bro.
I love it. Just keep it coming. Just mainline it.
Yeah. Thank y'all for checking this episode out. It's been fun. It's been Jonathan Rollins
and Skip from Sarah
with SveNFL. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Later, y'all.